Heh, funny, isn't it? How everyone walks around like they've got forever, rushing to meetings, scrolling through screens, chasing numbers, building little empires made of sand, acting like time is just some bottomless pit they'll never fall into. But what if it's not? What if the hourglass is already flipped? What if the clock's ticking louder than you think, and you're just too busy to hear it? Ah, detachment. Now that's a funny little feeling, isn't it? One day you're chasing the noise, money, recognition, more, and then suddenly it all starts to lose flavor. The glitter turns to dust. The applause starts sounding hollow. The thrill of winning, gone. The rush of competition fades. Like biting into a candy you used to love as a kid, only to realize it doesn't taste the same anymore. That's not boredom, sweetheart. That's your spirit starting to whisper, this isn't it anymore. You don't scream it out loud. You don't announce it to the world. It just happens. Quietly, subtly, you start drifting. The drama that used to light you up, you stare at it like static on an old TV screen. The gossip, the fake smiles, the shallow games, you watch it all like a spectator at a circus. You no longer want to be part of. People around you still clinging to chaos like it's their oxygen, while you're standing there thinking, why does this all feel so empty now? See, that's the shift they don't talk about. Not the big explosive awakening, not the cinematic transformation, no. It's subtle, it's slow. It's this slow burning sense that what once held your attention now barely holds your glance, that the noise everyone's dancing to is starting to sound like background static. And you're not better than anyone, you just feel different. Like your soul is pulling away from things you used to worship. The designer labels, the flashy lifestyle, the fake importance people give to temporary crowns. They start looking like toys in a sandbox, and you wonder how you ever thought they mattered so much. It's not depression, it's not apathy, it's spiritual evolution. It's the start of a goodbye, one you haven't even fully understood yet, because deep down, somewhere in the marrow of your bones, you know, you feel it. Something's shifting, something's ending. Something unseen is starting to wrap its fingers around your life and whisper, enough of this. You go out, but you don't feel connected. You laugh, but something inside stays silent. You try to engage in small talk, but the words feel heavy, like they're dragging themselves out of your mouth. Everything starts to feel distant. And not because the world changed, because you did. Or maybe you're being prepared for something. People around you notice it too, though they don't always say it. You've changed, they'll mutter, or you're not like before. But they don't realize that's the whole point. You're not supposed to stay the same. You're not supposed to keep orbiting around meaningless routines, chasing shadows on walls and calling them reality. No. Your soul is shedding its skin, and when it does, the old life starts feeling like a costume 2 sizes too small. You start craving silence more than sound. You start longing for solitude more than company. You start choosing stillness over stimulation, not because you're lonely, but because the noise of the world can't compete with the whisper of something deeper calling you. You begin to sense that everything external is just a distraction, and the real journey, it's happening inside, quietly, fiercely. Even the idea of success begins to change shape. What used to look like luxury and power now looks like peace. and purpose. What used to feel like climbing a ladder now feels like digging a well. You no longer care to impress, you care to express. You don't chase things to feel whole, you strip things away to feel light. And that's when you know something bigger is at play. You're not just evolving, you're being prepared for something, for somewhere, for a kind of truth that doesn't need applause or validation. A kind of truth that burns quietly, but deeply. And oh, how confusing it gets. Because while the world screams at you to keep up, to stay relevant, to chase harder, to do more, something inside whispers, let go. Let go of the pressure. Let go of the noise. Let go of everything that no longer feels like home. That's not weakness. That's transition. That's the soul loosening its grip on this world because it's starting to remember this place was never permanent. None of this was. Not the roles, not the status, not even the version of you that tried so hard to fit into it all. Peace. Now that's the real addiction, isn't it? Not money, not fame, not power. Peace. But not the kind they sell you in meditation apps or on posters with waterfalls and sunsets. No, I'm talking about that deep peace, the kind that makes you sit still in chaos and smile like you know something the world forgot. The kind that wraps around your soul, not your schedule. The kind that doesn't depend on whether people like you, applaud you, or even notice you exist. But here's the twist. Peace doesn't come when life gets quiet. It comes when you do. It shows up when the noise in your mind finally drowns in its own echo. When you stop chasing every shiny thing like a desperate puppet trying to prove you're alive. When your spirit, tired of the performance, starts craving something softer, something cleaner, something real. See, there's a moment. Doesn't come with a trumpet, doesn't flash like lightning, it just arrives. A quiet craving inside you, not for parties, not for attention, not even for success, but for stillness. A different kind of hunger, one that doesn't scream but whispers. You start turning away from loud people, heavy conversations, fake compliments. You're not angry, you're just done. Done trying to fill the void with noise. Done pretending chaos is normal. Done living like your worth depends on how loud you can shout your value to people who wouldn't hear it, even if you screamed. And that peace, it changes you. Oh, it changes everything. You stop reacting to nonsense. You stop picking battles that don't deserve your blood. You start choosing silence over shouting, calm over conflict, presence over performance. People will think you're boring now, cold, detached. But it's not detachment, it's clarity. You just stop needing what they still worship. You stop needing the applause that fades 5 seconds after it's given. You stop needing the validation that vanishes the moment you stop entertaining. Your spirit begins to crave different things, not the spotlight, but the shadows, not recognition, but reflection. You start talking to yourself more than others. You start enjoying your own company more than their conversations. You stop needing to explain yourself, defend your decisions, or prove your worth. You stop picking up every call, replying to every message, attending every pointless gathering where people wear masks and call it friendship. Peace becomes your compass, not logic, not ambition, not even desire, just peace. If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. If it disrupts your calm, it's not worth it. You begin to move differently, slower, softer, but deeper. And suddenly you don't care who's watching. You don't care who understands. You don't even care if they call you crazy. You care about one thing only: how it feels inside your soul. You know what's funny? When you start craving peace, you start losing people. The loud ones, the needy ones, the ones who feed off chaos, the ones who need constant noise to avoid their own emptiness. They disappear, not because you pushed them away, but because you stopped playing the game. You stopped reacting. You stopped dancing to the rhythm of dysfunction. You became still. And stillness? Oh, it scares the hell out of people who thrive in noise. But you don't miss them, you miss you. The you that was buried under layers of performance, pleasing, pretending. The you that didn't need the world's permission to breathe freely. That's who you find in the silence. That's who you return to in peace. And that return, that's where the real power hides. Not in domination, but in detachment. Not in control, but in surrender. Not in noise, but in knowing. And when that peace takes root, you start noticing the little things. The way the sun hits your face in the morning, the sound of your own breath, the feeling of your heartbeat when everything around you is still. You start smiling without reason, laughing without a crowd. You don't need a stage anymore. You are the stage. You don't need an audience anymore. You're performing for something far greater now, your own soul. Aha, urgency, that little fire in your chest, that tap on your shoulder in the middle of the night, that strange weight pressing down on your conscience when everything looks fine on the outside, but something inside is clawing at your gut, whispering, fix it before it's too late. You know the feeling. It's not panic, it's not fear. It's a deeper kind of pressure, spiritual, like your soul knows something your mind hasn't caught up with yet. You start looking at people differently. That friend you haven't spoken to in months, suddenly they come to mind at 2 a.m. That argument you had with your siblings, suddenly it doesn't feel worth holding on to anymore. That apology you've been holding back, it starts burning your throat. You tell yourself there's time, but something keeps poking at you. What if there's not? What if this is your cue? What if the clock's already ticking and you don't even hear it? It's funny how pride keeps people chained, isn't it? We walk around with our arms crossed, our egos bloated, convinced we're always right, always the victim, always the one who was hurt the most. But in the end, none of that pride will matter. It won't hug you back when you're lonely. It won't whisper forgiveness when you're dying. It won't show up at your grave with flowers. It'll just sit there, cold, empty, useless, while the moments you could have healed slip through your fingers like smoke. And still we hold on to grudges, to resentment, to bitterness, wrapped in the illusion of strength. But strength isn't refusing to forgive. Strength is walking into your own mess and saying, I'm tired of bleeding from wounds I never bothered to clean. That's real courage. Looking someone in the eye and saying, I was wrong. Or maybe even just, I miss you. But people don't do that, because they'd rather lose a soul than lose an argument. They'd rather carry guilt for years than carry vulnerability for one moment. But when that divine whisper starts growing louder, everything starts to shift. Your soul gets restless. Conversations feel unfinished. Bridges you burned start haunting you, not with regret, but with invitation. A strange pull to make things right, not because you're weak, but because something inside you wants peace more than victory. And it's not just about others. No, it's about you. the way you've betrayed yourself, the way you've abandoned your own values, the way you've ignored your own needs just to please people who never deserved your sacrifice. You start seeing your own reflection differently, not the one in the mirror, the one behind your eyes, the version of you that got buried under years of pretending, the version of you that stayed silent when you should have spoken. That version starts knocking, and the more you ignore it, the louder it gets, until your soul becomes a battlefield between the person you were and the person you were meant to be. And in the middle of that chaos, there's only one voice that matters, the one saying, make it right now. It's not just about apologies. Sometimes it's about release. Sometimes it's not about fixing a relationship. It's about finally letting it go. Sometimes it's not about saying sorry. It's about forgiving someone who will never be sorry. Sometimes it's not about going back. It's about moving forward without carrying that poison in your veins. Just you, standing in your own truth, bleeding out the pain you swore you'd ignore forever. But the most dangerous thing you can do is wait. Wait for the right time, wait for the perfect words, wait for life to slow down. It won't. That urgency you feel, that's not anxiety. That's alignment. That's your soul tapping the glass, trying to wake you up before the moment passes. Because moments do pass. Doors close, people leave, life doesn't pause for your procrastination, and Regret shows up when you're finally ready, but the chance is already gone. So the question isn't whether you should make things right. The question is, what's stopping you? Pride, fear, stubbornness, or maybe you just didn't realize until now that some moments don't come back, that some silences speak louder than words, that some hearts don't wait forever, and that sometimes the universe whispers loudest right before it takes everything away. Strange, isn't it? How things just start slipping away when you're not even trying. People, habits, places, versions of yourself you thought would last forever, gone. Not in flames, not in drama, not with a grand farewell, just faded, like smoke in the wind, no warning, no explanation. One day you wake up and the things that used to hold your attention feel like background noise. The things that once made your heart race now feel like empty echoes. You think you're losing control, but maybe, just maybe, you're being set free. You don't even fight it. That's the weird part. You just stop showing up to places that once felt like home. You stop replying to conversations that used to keep you up all night. You stop craving the validation that once fed your ego. No anger, no bitterness, just detachment. Quiet detachment. Like your soul's already moved on while your body is still playing catch up, and you start to wonder, what's wrong with me? Why don't I care like I used to? But it's not something wrong. It's something real. Growth is sneaky like that. It doesn't always look like a breakthrough. Sometimes it looks like disinterest, like tired eyes, like silence in rooms that used to roar with energy. Sometimes it feels like losing, but it's not. It's release. It's your spirit untangling itself from everything it once thought it needed. That toxic friendship that used to consume you, you don't even flinch when their name pops up anymore. That habit you couldn't quit, you just stopped reaching for it one day like your body forgot how to crave it. That version of you that used to bend over backwards to please everyone, gone, vanished. And you didn't even throw a goodbye party. People start noticing. You've changed, they say. you're distant. But they don't see the fire that burned beneath your skin for years, the noise you carried in your head, the storm behind your smile. They don't see that what looks like detachment is actually peace, that what looks like isolation is healing. You're not drifting, you're returning to yourself, to something deeper, something they can't see because they're still busy clinging to things you've already outgrown. You don't chase anymore. That's the beauty of it. You don't beg to stay in rooms where your soul doesn't breathe. You don't keep watering dead plants just to prove you're loyal. You don't keep dancing to music that no longer moves you. You walk away, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. Because when something no longer fits your spirit, it starts to feel heavy, even if it once felt like home. And the more you try to hold on, the more it hurts, until one day you just let go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean you stop loving. It just means you love yourself enough to stop bleeding for things that don't nourish you anymore. It means you finally understand that not everything is meant to stay. Not every bond is sacred. Not every connection is meant to last forever. Some people were just chapters. Some habits were just placeholders. Some versions of you were just bridges to get to the next level. And that's okay. That's not loss. That's transition. But oh, how it confuses you at first. You try to force yourself back into your old patterns. You try to make old conversations feel new again. You try to fake excitement, fake connection, fake belonging. But it never works, because once you've tasted evolution, anything that isn't aligned tastes bland. Once your spirit has outgrown a cage, no matter how golden it is, it'll always feel like prison. And pretending to fit in only makes the ache louder. The universe has a funny way of cleaning house when you're about to be moved into a different room. It strips you of what you thought you needed so it can give you what you're truly meant for. And it doesn't always ask your permission. It just starts removing. The people who drain you, the habits that numb you, the routines that keep you stuck. One by one, things fall away. And you try to hold on, but your grip gets weaker. Not because you're losing strength, but because your soul knows it's time to stop clinging.